what is up, everybody? It is Dirty and
DZAN, what is up, everybody? Today is Friday, February 24th. How is everybody doing? If you love the work we are doing on this channel, hit the like button, comment down below with some topics that you want us to discuss, and subscribe if you are new. Ladies and gentlemen, wow, we've had a great week. Dirty D, I went to the Bare Knuckle Mania 3 here in Albuquerque.
Really?
Thank you guys for those that have showed love on the video. Appreciate you so much. Dirty got to bitch and complain this week, which was also fantastic. It's one of my favorite things. One of my favorite things to listen to is him bitch and complain. We got a lot of shit to cover, Dirty D. What do you say you start us off per usual? I give you the floor.
Okay, well, so we talked about it last week, and here we are still. My Detroit Red Wings are 2 points right now. Actually, they may be in a wild card spot right now because they played last night, which is Thursday. They played the Rangers. Now, it's a tough game, but they've had a lot of tough games. However, let's back up to Tuesday night. They had just came off of this Western Canada road trip, which was absolutely insane. They covered over 7,000 miles. They played 6 games, took 5 of them. They lost the game before Tuesday night, the prior game to Seattle. They lost that, but number one, Seattle is a buzzsaw in the NHL right now. Number two, it was a back-to-back game that they had traveled from Calgary to Seattle, and back-to-back games are hard enough, let alone when you're traveling 1,800 miles to get to your destination. And so all eyes are on the Washington game for a myriad of reasons, but primarily Washington is a team that was just ahead of Detroit in the playoffs, in the wild card spot. And the other thing is we wanted to see what they look like after taking that loss. Are they going to bounce back?
Right.
Are they going to,
whatever to that? Right.
And they looked really good. Dylan Larkin cross-checked TJ Oshie to the face. He got ejected from the game. I've seen much worse with much less penalty, but I digress. That was a massive win for the Detroit Red Wings. And the little sprinkle that's on the top of all of this is Steve Yzerman himself flew to the game Tuesday night, flew into the game to see it firsthand. Stevie didn't go to any of those Western Canada games. They play on Thursday in Detroit. He could have very easily watched the game because he always watches all the home games in person. Why he chose to go to Washington, right, I find very, very intriguing. And I don't think it's coincidental that we just came off this 5 out of 6 wins. And then you get to the point to where you're in the season to where you've got to start making decisions, especially when the trade deadline is approaching. And it is. And it's coming at breakneck speed right now. I think it's like 2.5 weeks out right now. So I'm reading the tea leaves here, which with Steve Yzerman, you got to be very careful with doing. But it seems odd to me that he chose that game to go to, unless he needed to get his eyes on this and start making decisions.
Right.
Are we a buyer? Are we a seller? Are we going to stand pat? I think that is why it's the only thing that makes reasonable sense to me, why Stevie chose that game to go to. So I would not be surprised, and I'm not predicting this at all, but I would not be surprised if a move is not, what do they say, imminent?
Yes.
So we'll see.
We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see.
But it's an exciting time finally.
And ladies and gentlemen, before we move on to the rest of the topics of the day, I know there's a lot of compression in these videos, but if you hear clacking and knocking, it is up to 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts right now in the Duke City. So it's pretty, I got blinds and they're like hitting my shits, my windows.
Wow.
So if you guys are hearing it, and I'll put up some video. I had to take my fucking trash cans out and kind of fucking wedge them in between a tree and the shed so the wind doesn't fucking take them out, because we just had trash day, so they're empty. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
And we have these big ass trees and they're just like full on to the other side because of the wind. So pretty fucking crazy over here. And then the last thing, if you don't care for a certain topic we are talking about, time codes are down below. You can see them up top, what is coming up and what we're currently talking about. So feel free to move along as you wish. You do you. Boo, boo. All right, guys. First things first, let's talk about one of the GOATs, Jose Aldo. Just recently had a nice win. He announced himself that his next opponent's going to be Jeremy, who the fuck is that guy, Stevens himself. That should be entertaining. The little heathen. Sorry, my apologies. I couldn't remember the name. And now there's rumors that he might be having an exhibition match with Floyd Mayweather. That could also be very interesting. What are your thoughts, Dirty D, man? He's a legend, still killing it, dude.
Yeah, well, I think that is a wonderful idea. And I think that if Floyd was to fight anybody in the UFC that would be exciting, I think it's Jose Aldo. Jose, whatever.
Tomatoes.
Jose Aldo looked so good in his fight the other night. I forget who it was that he was fighting. Actually, I don't think I did know who it was, but he looked so good boxing.
Yeah.
And yet he still did look like a UFC fighter in a sense. And I think that that's just all of those years on the mat, that muscle memory, you just kind of default to what you know.
Right.
But, and it's a big but, he looked really good. I'm not into boxing that much, so I don't know who the good fighters are. So I don't know who this guy was that he fought. I don't know, it may be just a matter of that,
Right. When it comes to MMA fans, if they have ever had a professional boxing match, it's a win for us to beat them. You know what I mean? Because
absolutely,
that is what it is. Then they are a boxer, and you know what I mean? We got that
big dub, man.
Absolutely. We had a very lackluster UFC Fight Night. Bless Jessica Andrade for coming in and saving the day on 5 days notice, but she did get submitted quite viciously in the second round. Sorry. Other than that,
money on that one.
Other than that, Blanchfield is a great fighter, but I did have Andrade on that one. We have Krylov and Spann coming up tomorrow. That should be a really good fight. But
Ryan Spann's a good fighter. Yeah,
you guys know next week is when we will be breaking down UFC 285. Really, really excited for that card. It is going down. Now we have to get into a little bit of controversy with one of my new up and coming favorite sports here. Bare knuckle boxing, as you know, did come through Albuquerque, and Diego Sanchez fought Austin Trout in the co-main event. And there is a little bit of controversy because there has been video that came out of him being greased in his corner, the back of his neck, the back of his shoulders. And Diego, he had it in his mind that he can get in, clinch, box. For those that don't know, you're allowed to clinch fully. Please, Dirty.
If you don't know what greasing is, guys, it just means they put a lot of grease on their face. The punches tend to glance off a lot easier.
Right. And in this case, it was the back of the neck and the shoulders so that Diego couldn't get a collar tie to Dirty box. That is completely legal in BKFC. It's one of my favorite parts because in boxing, they get 5 seconds of action and then they get broken up because they're hugging. You can fight in the clinch. It's a beautiful thing. And that was his plan, because Austin is a professional boxer. So he's not going to be getting at range at this guy. He needs to get in there and make it dirty. He needs to fight his fight, a fight that Austin doesn't usually fight, dirty boxing. That didn't work so well the entire fight. And I thought in my head, Diego looks slow. He looks stale, and he kept just like slipping off of the guy. And now there may be some credence to that. Do I think that that was the all around reason why Diego lost? No, Austin was the better man that night. However, this is big, and it's not only Austin's corner that is in the heat for this. The cut man for BKFC is the one who gave the corner the Vaseline, who then put it on the fighter before they came out for their first round.
This is bigger than any sport because of gambling.
Oh, yeah.
This is a massive, massive deal. It doesn't just affect the fighters.
And
it doesn't just affect BKFC or the UFC, whatever the case is. This affects a lot of people.
right.
And now with gambling being at the absolute front of every sport now, that can't happen.
And we have other organizations, the UFC, going through controversy with James Krause over fight fixing and shit like that. So
the NFL,
there's already
there's a lot of people all over the NFL, the referees,
right.
Why
Absolutely.
are the referees constantly getting these things wrong? And
right. Yeah.
That's the problem.
That's the problem. And I mean, for those that don't know, in Albuquerque, Diego Sanchez, forget the last 7 years, excuse me. He is a legend in the town, and you know what I mean? You just give them that honor because of the work that they've done. They are pioneers in tough. They're pioneers in UFC and in his light and in the lightweight division. Austin Trout is from Cruces. He's a professional boxer. He's won titles. This was a bigger fight than what the BKFC was putting on for everybody with the main event. The co-main event was our main event. So it is a little bit bigger too on that scale when it comes to betting and all those kinds of things. A lot of eyes were on that particular fight when it comes to bare knuckle. So we'll see what happens next. But I just heard this morning that Diego Sanchez is going to be taking legal action against the cornerman and the BKFC as well. So we will see what happens. He's also putting in for the fight to be overturned, or at least a no contest. It's not getting overturned, ladies and gentlemen, and it's not going to be a no contest. So that's not going to work either. But
it never works.
Wow, fucking wow. It was a great night though, guys. Let me tell you, it was a fucking fantastic night. And yeah, anyways, let's move on. Before we get into music, Dirty D, there's a little bit of controversy with my main goat, and we got to talk about this a little bit.
What's going on?
Well, for those of you that don't know, if you're living under a fucking rock, UFC puts on the show called Tough, and Tough 31 has McGregor versus Michael Chandler. They've already started filming. Day one of filming, it seems that Connor has got himself into a tad bit of hot water, which is nothing new, you know what I mean? But it's something small. He may or may not have kicked out several fighters so that he could bring his own fighters in. So we don't know fully, but one thing that I do know is that the double champ does what the fuck he wants. So,
and you will defend that gigantic head, that gigantic dome that sits on that man's shoulders.
Greatness, right? That sits on nauseum. Right.
It's hilarious.
I feel like we don't know until we watch the video.
Hilarious.
Let's wait till we see the video. That's what I'm saying. Because
I got it.
Are we not innocent until proving? Is this not America?
Yeah. Okay,
is he not in America right now? Is he not working in America?
Yeah. He's Irish. So sorry about it.
But he has a work visa. I'm sure
he's Irish.
It has to work out that way.
Sorry about it.
So we don't know what happened, guys. We don't fully have all the facts. We just know that some guys were taken off the roster and some people were added on. That's all we know. More to come, and we'll keep you
I'm
updated.
sure there is. I'm quite sure there's more to come. I don't know if we'll hear about it on this channel.
All right, let me break the fourth wall for a little second. It gets hard sometimes, but I won't stop. I won't stop. And it's fine. You know how much money this man, sorry, I'm going right back into it. All right, let's move on. Let's move on. Man, Dirty D this week belonged to independent artists. What a fucking week. We had Hopsin. Is that way? How do you
spin?
Hopspin? Sorry. We had Hopsin drop. We had NF drop. We had Tech
I didn't know
9
about that.
drop. Come on. We had Jerry Robinson drop, who's also on his label. What a week. Let's talk about it. Let's throw up the graphics. We have NF dropping his single Hope for his next album, Hope. And it's going to be coming out April 7th. Dirty D, you don't do much NF. I don't know if you've done a single NF song.
Yeah, I know we've done one for sure. Yeah.
Do you know which song that was or no?
Not off the top of my head.
Okay. Dirty D, it's not really, you'll like him, you'll respect him. You'll definitely respect him. But his kind of music, a lot of it you'll vibe with, some of it you definitely won't. He's a Christian rapper. He doesn't cuss in his music, but he doesn't push religion too much. He taught you, and you can tell he's heavily influenced by Eminem. But he's,
the more I think about it, I want to say maybe it was a feature.
You probably did a feature. It may have been the Hopsin one or the Tech 9 one, because Tech 9 was on his album, and so was Hopsin.
I think it was Tech 9.
Yes, and
I think it was. Yeah.
So they all agreed not to cuss for his album, so they were able to feature on his album. And it's kind of cool. He doesn't do many features, and it's a new thing for him to do features. And we have a really good feature coming up on this album, Corday. Corday is an outstanding artist,
or as Dirty D would say, Cordray. I'm pretty sure that was the first time
the first one, right? Yeah. I love your attempts the first time you hear their name. It's great because
there's
most of the time you fuck them up.
No, there's one I can't think of
Kid Cudi. You did Kid Cudi.
Oh yeah, of course.
You did Kid Cudi.
Kid Cudi. No, there's another one though. It was epic. It was an epic fail. Damn it! I wish I could remember who the hell that was.
I had a couple of them, but
yeah,
it's fantastic.
Yeah.
He has Corday, and then
there's one that I still fuck up, and I can't remember who the hell it is.
Is it JID and Jid?
That's what it is. Fuck! Every time.
I say JID.
I say JID all the time.
It is what it is, man. Yeah. It is what it is. He spells it both ways. So
yeah, I know. That's what's fucked up.
That is what's fucked up. Now, along with the album announcement and the music video drop, it's going to be coming out April 7th. But this music video was fucking epic. And for those that know NF, he tells stories through his music, and each album has its own story. And he's been in the darkness the past couple albums. And in this album, obviously titled Hope, he's not wearing all black anymore. He's wearing all white. And then in the background, you hear the darker voices kind of arguing back and forth with him. And in certain parts of the video, he'll change his face appearance from that black smile that you'll see in his previous music videos to him talking back in his current wardrobe. So it's very fascinating to watch and to see that this album is going to be a much lighter take, which is going to be very different from kind of the previous albums that we've gotten. So it's going to be fantastic. I'm very excited for the next NF project. We had Hopsin. I feel like we're going to be getting something big from Hopsin. The music video he dropped, I will not be surprised, Dirty, if you get that in your Patreon very soon, because the music video is called Arrival. And it is theatrical as fuck. It's like a mini movie. And when I say he's on another level now, he truly has evolved over the past couple years. And Hopsin is he's found his own lane and he has fucking dug it deep into hip hop now, and it's really really great to hear him on his sound. And for those that are big Hopsin fans, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And this album is going to be another fantastic album in his catalog.
Yeah, I really do like Hobson in his openness about a lot of things.
Yeah,
You know, I've always respected that
that's one of my
about him.
favorite things, man, is when an artist is so open, right? And
It's things
fucking
that we struggle with
yes.
ourselves. You know, it's
Mm-hmm.
nice to know that there are other people out there that have these same struggles.
Right. You want to relate, man. You want to relate.
Yeah,
When it comes to hip hop, it's a really big deal. And that's why it's such a big deal that, in a lot of other genres, it's not a big deal that they don't write their own music. You have writers, it's a very normal thing. In R&B, it's a very normal thing to have people write your music. It's almost like an honor. So and so wrote my song that I got to perform. You are a performer. And in hip hop it's very different. You have to be a performer, you
and
have
rock.
to be a writer, exactly right.
Yeah,
It's a respect thing. You
yeah.
aren't shit unless you are the one who originated the art that you are pushing out. And for hip hop that birthed in poetry, it couldn't be any truer. And so we put a lot of, that's why we put a lot of weight on our top fives and on the GOAT conversations and what have you, because it's very important. It's very important to us, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um,
It's about respect. Yeah,
Absolutely. Strange Music is revving up again. Tech Nine
Tech
putting out
Nine.
another banger, man. It's called
Fuck yeah.
Tell Everyone. And it's a banger, man. It's a banger. I'm really, really excited. Excuse me. It looked like the thumbnail was like the back of him with like a crown on. He's in his bag, and that's one of our favorite Tech Nines, is when he's just ripping it, and it's so clear and it's fucking epic.
What was the one I did a couple weeks ago?
Scream.
Yeah. Oh my
Oh
god,
god, dude.
dude.
So that was the first single. We have this one. So
He's an
he's revving up.
independent man.
Mm-hmm.
Golly,
Mm-hmm.
it just blows my mind.
Absolutely. Listen, there would not be a Joyner Lucas if there wasn't a Tech Nine. Let me tell you, this man is the blueprint for independent rapping. He is the antithesis of what like that.
Cole,
Mm,
Cole.
mm-hmm, absolutely. 100%. 100%. And then of course, Jerry Robinson, who is his label mate. I love Jerry Robinson. He had one of the best hooks of the last year with Butterflies. He's coming out another single, very, very lyrical single, which is very great to hear from Jerry, because he can get in his fucking bag too. The man can sing, but the guy is lyrical as shit. And it's not just filler. In his last album, that was my biggest complaint, is that when he would get in his bag, it was a bag of the same shit that he was just pulling out, pulling
Right.
out. But it's very, very exciting to hear him again, and I'm excited to hear what's coming up next for the whole Strange Music label, because as you know, Murs is always cooking up shit. Mayday's always cooking up shit. So should be
They got it
fantastic.
going on over there, man.
Should be fantastic. Now, I will say, man, being a Strange Music fan for 15 years plus now, it's not like it used to be, for sure. Strange Music, digital definitely kind of killed it a little bit, killed the independent game slightly. They had to change it up big time. But back then in the early 2010s, 2007, 2007 to about 2013, they probably had the best label that you could have. They had Ritz, man, who was fucking killing it. They had so many amazing artists that were doing amazing things. And during that time too, he had Kendrick on his song Fragile before,
Mm-hmm.
Kendrick hit it big. And it was just a great time to be in Strange Music and to listen to Strange Music. For those that haven't heard any of his compilations, they're called Strangulation. And he has a Strangulation 1 and 2, and that right there, that's the best group of rappers you're ever going to find for one label at one given time, for any independent label ever, 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 ever. So All respect out to Strange Music. Can't wait to see what is coming next, my guy. I'm so excited.
You were talking about digital, and I've talked about this many times in Patreon. There's something in the harmonic content. Harmonic content is kind of the air that surrounds music, right?
Yeah.
And there's really no way of describing what harmonic content is effectively, So when you listen to a song that was recorded on 2-inch analog tape, even inch and a half, there is this richness, and there's no way of duplicating that. I have plugins, I have hardware that simulates that,
right?
But it's never quite there,
right?
I don't think we can ever get that, but we are getting closer all the time,
right? With replicating, right? With replicating,
yeah. But that's the thing, is you kind of have to feed it into it,
right?
It's not natural.
Yep.
So that's why I say I don't think there's ever going to be a way of doing it without tape.
Yeah. And you made a really good point.
And there are a lot of people that have gone back to using tape, as expensive as that is, yep, because you, especially in hip hop and R&B, those are such musically rich genres, and you almost have to have that infused in there, right, to get that really creamy bottom end that we love in hip hop.
Right. You made a really good,
especially in like a New York style hip hop.
Oh, that grittiness, right?
Yeah.
Boom, boom, pap too. That boom, pap.
Yep. Boom, boom, pap. Exactly. Yep. It's built for it.
Right. Absolutely.
You go listen to an old Beastie Boys album or DMC, Run DMC. Those albums, there was so much richness in the air, man.
One of my favorite tapes, Sir Mix-a-Lot, fucking Sir Mix-a-Lot Swass, man. I played that shit over and over as a kid, and there's nothing like flipping the tape back, letting that bitch rewind, playing it back. You know what I mean?
Right on.
Fucking A. That is what it is all about. That's what it's all about. You made a really good point. On Dirty's Patreon, he covered a playlist of very eclectic playlist, and he had made a point about 70s music, right? And how that sound, that's the sound. You're not getting that back. You can't get that back. Can't duplicate that, man. That funk, the disco music, like that.
That's what I was talking about. Last week.
Exactly. Yeah. That you cannot replicate.
Disco music is so thick with richness.
Yeah. And the bass lines.
God. Oh, the bass lines.
Those bass lines, my
Don't even get me going on the bass lines, man. Oh God.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite things. I love
absolutely. That. Yeah, man. So well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for letting us come back to you this week and spill out all of our thoughts to you. Again, for those that are new, and if you made it this far, why aren't you subscribed yet? You made it this far, man. Just fucking hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, smash that bitch, comment down below.
Comment
like us to talk about.
Please comment. Thank you. By the way, speaking of comments, thank you, Michael.
Yes.
I love you, brother, so much. Thank you so much.
Who put "fuck you dirty"? Because that was my favorite. That's my favorite, because he said please Michael. Say "fuck you dirty" or "fuck you DZAN," but people are like, no, he's cool. We're not doing that. We'll throw a "fuck you dirty" in there. So appreciate that.
Sure.
And I second that. Thank you guys so much for watching. We will see you next week where we break down 285 and more. Peace.
And more. Peace.